What is good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode brought to you by the League FFB. We're back for another Dynasty trade review show. 10 trades loaded up today to grade for you guys submitted in our free Discord. So make sure, if you're not a member of that Discord already, you go down into the description, click that Discord link, and join the Discord so we can review your trades on the next episode. But as always, this would not be a trade review show without my co-host MFGD. So let's get him into the building and let's start talking some Dynasty trades. War, how we doing today, man?
Let me tell you something. This is the preeminent destination for fantasy football, dynasty football specifically. Andrew Mott, brain of a computer, MFGDs. Doctor had to check my digestive tract when I was a baby because I was born not giving a crap. You're looking at the renegade of fantasy football, MFGDs, the crown prince of dynasty football, Andrew Mott. We are the League FFB, and this is Let's Talk Dynasty. Let's go.
Well, goddamn. Welcome in, everybody.
Promo.
Goddamn. My man, goddamn. All right. Well, look, I appreciate it. Let's get into the damn trade show. For the folks at home who've been here in the offseason so far, you guys know we've kind of been doing these a week ahead. So, full disclosure, the episode that you guys saw that came out yesterday at the time of our recording, so last week's trade show, there was a lot of news that probably did not get addressed in that trade show because since then, Quinshon Judkins has had a case that definitely has made some dynasty trades relevant. We'll talk about those today in this episode. Rashee Rice has also had some stuff come out that has made us see him in some dynasty trades. And Jordan Addison pleaded guilty in a case for what they call wet reckless. So we are going to be seeing him in a couple trades as well. So there's a lot of stuff that has happened since the last episode, real life NFL legality wise, and that has created a lot of buy low windows. So because of that, you guys are going to see a trade like this first one that we have here on the screen. So War, 12 team, super flex, full PPR, tight end premium, start 11. You got good old Quinshon Judkins being traded for what you had to give up was DJ Moore and a 26 second. Is this wet and reckless or is this, what is this?
I'm not even going to touch wet and reckless, man. We got to stay monetized around here. Quinshon Judkins. Okay, man. Quinshon, man. We how have the mighty fallen before they even started their first NFL season? This trade in particular, and I ain't got Bears goggles on. I'm just looking at it. I'm taking the DJ Moore side because I understand that, and it doesn't have anything to do with Quinshon Judkins' legal issues either. I think that a lot of people are probably sleeping on DJ Moore. I think a lot of people are probably sleeping on him. I'm always wide receiver leaning. We know this. We've seen these shows before. I'm always a little more wide receiver leaning. And you're getting a second round pick on top of that. So without Judkins' legal issues, I'm already kind of leaning DJ Moore. With his issues, I'm definitely leaning DJ Moore. I mean, I understand Quinshon Judkins has the ability to be a stud, but here's the thing, man. The best ability is availability, and they already got another rookie on that team. If he pops out, I mean, it's unlikely that the Browns are going to be like, let a fourth rounder just come in and just, take all the snaps. But he could perform well enough to where it could go more towards a timeshare, which it was already looking like it might become, to more of a definitive timeshare. So that's where I'm at on this one, Drew.
Yeah, I mean, the probability of Sampson coming in and being impressive is not zero. I do believe that Judkins, if he's on the football field for the Browns, is the guy to own because I think he's just a level that's a little bit, little bit more than Dylan Sampson. At least that's kind of how I viewed him in my prospect profiles. But, Quinshon Judkins is a player who hasn't signed the rookie contract even before the legal issues hit. He now is dealing with legal issues and is unsigned, and teams are starting to report to training camp. So there's really a lot here to unpack with Judkins, and it felt like last week when we talked about Judkins, because the news had just happened when that episode came out, it's still a lot of discovery. We kind of got to figure out some more information, but I will continue to lean in the direction that I was leaning last week as to if there's something here, he's probably going to get a suspension. And it'll probably be somewhere between 4 and 8 games. Maybe 6 is the sweet spot, but it's probably going to be between 4 and 8 games, depending on what they find. We have since had a audio call come out of the TMZ police call, and nothing's too it didn't feel like there was anything too serious there. Obviously, she was accusing him of the crime, but yeah, I mean, it's just there's just a lot here. But that aside, I don't want to try and project how the legal process pans out for Judkins, because that's just like something that's just way out of our jurisdiction here, because like that's just not, it's too unpredictable. When it comes to buying low on Judkins, this doesn't feel like a buy low. I feel like you could have made this deal, or this could have been the asking price pre anything happening for Judkins. Because I agree with you too. It does feel like people are a little bit sleep on DJ Moore. I think DJ Moore is a player that's probably going to have a pretty decent 2025 season. Probably a guy that's going to end up as a top 20-ish wide receiver for fantasy football. And yeah, I mean, I think when it's all said and done, I probably pre-legal stuff would have preferred the Judkins side just by a tiny bit. But I think this is a fair deal as of now. I'm just going to go out and say, though, that I think you can buy Judkins depending on the manager. And that's the big thing, is depending on the manager in your league. But I think you could buy Judkins a little bit cheaper than this. It feels like you might have been able to get away with Judkins for more by himself.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. DJ Moore is definitely a buy low right now, buy low candidate. This trade, man, like the crazy thing is that we won't get a good sense of like how we should all feel about Judkins until we know like what the suspension is going to look like. I mean, we've seen the NFL go extreme on the suspensions before, and we've also seen them go surprisingly light. Like, okay, that's 2 games. Like, so we just don't know. But
yeah, I think it's gonna, I mean, if video surfaces, obviously, like I look back to like previous things like Kamara's incident, and even like, you know, Kareem Hunt's incident and Ray Rice, and, you know, some of these other guys. Like, if a video surfaces, I think you have a lot more to be worried about. But right now, where it's kind of he said, she said, and this is, keep in mind, folks, this is not to invalidate anything that, you know, the victim is saying has happened. I don't know what has happened. We don't really know. We have an accusal here where somebody's been accused of a violent crime. I don't know anything else other than that at this point in time. But I think if a video comes out or something like that happens, pictures come out, whatever, that's when I think the community is going to have to be a little bit more reactive to it, because we'll have some physical proof there.
Yeah. NFL, you know, they always, once the video comes out, they always start, you know, taking a proper approach once that happens. We know
Gets a little more serious, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's a fine deal. But you might have a little bit more of an opportunity here to buy a little bit lower on Judkins if you believe in the talent. And keep in mind, buying Judkins does not mean that you are condoning behavior that Judkins did off the football field, folks. Like, we're playing a game here that is strictly fantasy football points. It does not mean you condone the behavior. So let's go on to this next trade, and you got Judkins again, back to back. 12 team, super flex, full PPR, and start 10. Now, team 1 said he is stacking first round picks in future years. So to me, he didn't say he's rebuilding, but that tells me you're rebuilding. So he trades away Quinshon Judkins, who I'm assuming he used a first round pick in this year, and Aaron Jones to go get a 2026 first round pick. So maybe the legality of the issue, maybe that scared him off to where he said, I'm just going to re-roll Judkins into a first round pick down the road again next year and not deal with, you know, the off the field crap at this point in time. So what do you think about that? Like, re-rolling Judkins into just next year's first round pick?
I don't necessarily like it. I really don't. What I really don't like about this trade is, yeah, you re-rolling Judkins, but why are you giving up Aaron Jones just because? Because that's exactly what I feel about this. Quinshon Judkins is still worth a 26 first round pick. I mean, it's not 27. Worth a 26 first round pick. Then you throwing in Aaron Jones. I mean, I feel like you probably could have got that first just for Quinshon Judkins, depending on the manager, like you said in the previous trade, and traded Aaron Jones for a little bit something extra. I don't know. Like, but even if the owner was like, no, Judkins is in trouble, I need something more, I'm not giving up what I believe is still going to be a productive running back in Aaron Jones. In addition to it, if I'm rebuilding, I'm trading Aaron Jones for another draft asset.
Yeah, this is like the starting offer that I went for when I started trying to buy Judkins after the news came out. I was offering 26 first round picks for Judkins, just trying to see if we could make that re-roll happen. So I don't think it's like bad value in that aspect. I think Aaron Jones is probably, you know, a player that should command a second these days. He's not a player that I think is really worth a first, and obviously he's a little bit on the older side of Dynasty fantasy football age. So yeah, you probably could have got a first and a second thrown into this deal, and it probably would have been a little bit more fair. That's probably where it's lacking. But is the second round, you know, the risk that you have to pay for moving off of bad news or bad press? Maybe, but I also think you're inherently, you know, taking in risk with a 26th first round pick that we don't know what that is or who that is at this point in time. But I guess the good news is the 26th first cannot lose value or get suspended if that is what you're worried about. So yeah, I mean, it's fine. Again, here I kind of lean the Judkins side. I lean the Judkins on the first one and I lean the Judkins on this one. I think we're just at a point in time here where it feels like Judkins is kind of we're getting a discount here, and I think I'm kind of leaning towards the discount.
Yeah, I think my only issue is the Jones side of it. The Judkins side, that's fine. Rerolling 26 first, but I feel like this wasn't the most efficient way to use the assets.
Fair enough. Let's move on to this next trade. Talk about legal issues. Rashee Rice, judge came out, said that he is, I'm pretty sure they said he pleaded guilty. So because of that, now Rashee Rice is going to likely see a suspension from the NFL. Rumors have it is probably going to be somewhere between probably 4 to 6 games. I think it's probably going to be 4. I was speaking with Andy Holloway last week when he was on the show. Me and him are both kind of projecting that it's 4 games for Rashee Rice. So what you have here is a 12-team Superflex full PPR and start 10. High-key Jesus is receiving Rashee Rice and Chuba Hubbard. He gives away Jaylen Waddle and Tucker Kraft. So how do you feel, in Dynasty right now buying Rice, knowing there's a suspension, but it does feel like the majority of the legal is behind him, and now we just wait to hear how many games, and then it's time to play.
Feel good about buying Rice, man. Feel good about it. I don't feel any different than I felt before. I'll just look at it honestly. This is how I'm looking at it. If he has a 4-game suspension, I'm just gonna imagine that he started the season on a pup list or something, and need a few extra weeks to rehab. That's how I'm gonna look at it. I'm taking the Hubbard and Rice side. I mean, to me, this is a pretty open and shut deal for me. You know how I feel about Waddle. I mean, you got Tucker Kraft in there, but I'm definitely taking the Rashee Rice side on this. He's the best player in this trade. To me, in my opinion, you have the best player in this trade and either the second or third best player in this trade. So I'm taking that side, man.
Yeah, that's how I look at it too. I think Rice is the best player in the trade, probably the most valuable player. And then I agree with you. It's either Jaylen or Chuba for second best player, but I think you have an argument that those guys are probably closer to equal value this day or this point in time than probably anybody else in this deal. So if those two guys are pretty equal in our mind, it's Rice for Kraft. And come on now, give me Rashee Rice all day long, 7 days out of the week, twice on Sunday. I'm just taking Rashee Rice, and pretty close and shut for me. You are going to have to, put up with a month or maybe a tiny bit more of the season where he's not scoring points for you. But this is Dynasty Fantasy Football. You can align a second trade here, or maybe you already have the depth on your roster where you can just plug a guy in that's going to get you some points and survive for 4 weeks. And then Rashee's there to help you make a push at the end of the year.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like if you could weather that storm at the beginning of the season, you'll be able to ride Rice into the stratosphere, because I still think he's going to have an awesome season.
Let me ask you this too, because I saw the name come up the other day, and it was a name that we talked about a little bit during the draft process. Jaylen Royals. Do you think he's interesting now with Rice being suspended for the first month or so of the season, or likely to be suspended the first month or so of the season? Do you think Jaylen Royals is interesting?
He's about as interesting as Jalen McMillan on Tampa Bay without Chris Godwin. So we'll see. The only difference is going to be shorter.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what, Jalen McMillan is a lot more expensive than Royals is right now. So if you project, a value increase like that, you might be able to add Royals off of your waiver wire, or maybe he's on your taxi. You can throw a 4th round pick for him, and in a month of the season, you can maybe get a 3rd or something for him if he's shown out.
That wouldn't be
maybe small little value increase. I don't know. I just thought he was an interesting name to look at. But let's just move on.
Let's move on, man. If you're Worthy.
Yeah, I think Worthy's the guy who benefits the most. Him and probably Kelsey. But let's go to this 10-team, 2-quarterback, full PPR and start 10. Castern says he has a strong roster. That's the context, is he has a strong roster. So we get Ja'Marr Chase being received for Odunze, a 26 first, a 27 first, and a 28 first. So he says, I am a contender. Here's my next 3 years of first round picks. I'm projecting them to be late, and I'm pushing the chips in to get Ja'Marr Chase. How do you feel about Odunze and 3 late firsts for Ja'Marr here?
I don't got a problem with it. I do not have a problem with it. He said he's a strong team, a strong roster. He just got stronger. Rome, love you.
You don't have to apologize to every Bears player when you say you don't like that side of the trade.
Like you gotta if Jamar Chase coming back, you gotta go, man. And even with the 27 pick, but if he's gonna be as good as he say he's gonna be, those picks are gonna be closer to the second round than I like. So I mean, I take the Jamar Chase on this side.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree as well. And 10 teams, superstars in the lineup is just a little bit more important as well. You want to have the hammers, and Jamar Chase is going to be that guy. I think you could look down, a couple years from now and say Roman a couple first. Maybe it was an overpay, but if it won you games and won you championships, then who cares? But that's going to have to take Odunze hitting and then you hitting on a couple of those first round picks as well. But if you're the other side of the deal, Harden, if you're him on this side of the deal, you're probably feeling good, especially if you're rebuilding. You down tier Chase to Odunze and you land a couple first round picks over the next 3 seasons. Like, I like this deal for both sides, assuming that, one is contending and one is rebuilding. And I don't assume you would make this trade unless that is actually the case in the direction of both of those teams. But I think this is a good deal for both people.
Yeah, I agree. This isn't a bad deal at all.
All right, let's move on to the next trade here. What I got here is a 12-team Superflex full PPR, 1-point tight end premium, and start 12. Now, A-Rod says he wanted a quarterback upgrade. So we got our good buddy Judkins in here again. It is Bo Nix and Quinshon Judkins being received for Jared Goff, Kyle Pitts, and Chuba Hubbard. So I guess first and foremost, you value Bo Nix as the upgrade to Goff, correct?
Yeah.
And then by how much? And then I guess really, does the Judkins for Chuba? Talk to me here. Talk to me, man. You're making a face. I want to know what's going on.
This is a bad trade, bro. Like, because I can make the argument that Bo Nix is worth everything on the other side. And you're getting Quinshon Judkins. Kyle Pitts, we don't need to go too deep into it. We know what Kyle Pitts brings to the table. So we just move him to the side. So Chuba Hubbard and Goff for Bo Nix. I mean, I'm taking Bo Nix. You pull Kyle Pitts from off the side, put him back in there. Goff, Pitts, Hubbard for Bo Nix. I'm going Bo Nix. And you're getting Quinshon Judkins. This is, and that's no slight to Goff and Hubbard. But Goff, he's not an old quarterback, but he's an older quarterback. And Hubbard, he's a for now running back. I could see him being replaced anytime. Like,
he's a short window guy.
Yeah, short window guy. That's a way better way of saying it. He's a short window guy, and yeah, man. To me, it's just a landslide of a trade from the receiving side. It's Arnold.
It's A-Rod, but
hey
Arnold.
I think my brain is predisposed to not saying A-Rod.
Fair. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Look, I agree with most of everything that you just said there. I think the 1-point tight end premium, the additional full point per reception for the tight end position does make Kyle Pitts a little bit more valuable. But that said, I'm in agreement with you where I think Jared Goff and Chuba Hubbard is probably what it's going to take to upgrade to Bo Nix, to get a little bit of the rushing upside from Bo Nix that Jared Goff doesn't possess, to get a little bit of those years back in age. That's probably just the cost to be the boss if you're getting off of Jared Goff. That's just probably what it is. And so then you got the Quinshon Judkins being thrown in. I was trying really hard to make something happen there, and I thought it was decent. I don't know.
It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad.
Yeah. I said the cost to be the boss, and then I realized I might be able to throw Jared Goff in there, and I just went with it. But then Quinshon Judkins, you take him in the side of the deal over Kyle Pitts and the other fluff, whatever it is, to get to the even. So yeah, I'm with you. Nix and Judkins, I'll take that side. And I wish you guys could show me a trade here, with Judkins involved where I'm not leaning the Judkins side, but people are saying that there's like no dip on Judkins at the moment. Oh, people aren't selling cheap. I just found 3 deals here where it feels like Judkins is going for a little bit cheaper than he's supposed to go for. And if there's no dip, quote unquote, in your league, I still think that there probably is a dip somewhere. You got to just find it. You got to get it out of there. Notice that most of these deals were not straight up 1-for-1s. These are like Judkins being thrown in with other stuff to make it, lean in their favor.
Yeah. This is the prison episode of Let's Talk Dynasty, and Judkins is getting all the commentary right now.
Dynasty courtroom. That's really what we're in right now, is the Dynasty courtroom telling you guys to go. We're convicting these guys. That's what we're doing. 12 team Superflex full PPR start 9 contending roster for Bladner. He gets Alvin Kamara, George Kittle, and Ricky Pearsall. He gives up a 26 first, Chuba Hubbard, and Jake Ferguson. Lots of Chuba in this episode, actually. I just realized that there's a lot of Chuba. But other context to this deal, Bladner got a team review, and I told him to push the chips in because I felt like his team was strong. So this isn't just him saying he is a contender war. I told him he is a contender and to push the chips in a little bit more because I think he can win a championship. So this is the deal that he made. I kind of told him to go get George Kittle. I suggested he move Kittle or move that first round pick for George Kittle. He said he had to get creative to make it happen. But what do you think about this specifically with all of the other pieces thrown in around it? And don't say you like it because I told him to trade for Kittle. Don't do that. If you don't like it, tell me.
I'm not the hugest fan of it.
I'm
not the hugest fan of it. Well, because I feel like, okay, so trades where I feel like you're trading away a better asset than what you could have kept. Like, for example, Alvin Kamara, we all know how we know Alvin to a degree. Kamara and Hubbard at this point are both short window guys. Like Kamara,
correct.
It's not likely he's gonna have like a whole bunch left. I mean, I think it's unlikely that he's gonna have a similar season to what he had last season. That team's gonna be bad.
But keep in mind, Alvin Kamara was still a top 10 fantasy producer last year.
He was. But this year, I think that team's going to be even worse.
I
so
agree.
we got to see how that's going to go. So, I mean, I feel like maybe he could have kept Chuba Hubbard, and I feel like you might have been able to get Ferguson and something else, and that first and Ferguson would have for sure got you Kittle. And even if you put in like a little something extra, if they didn't want to give Pearsall, then you could have put that in. So I mean, I guess my only hang up with the deal itself is probably just the Kamara for Chuba Hubbard, because Chuba Hubbard's younger. I feel like his window is a little more open than Kamara right now, and I just don't trust what the Saints are going to do this upcoming season.
I'm actually, it's kind of funny you said that, because when he sent me the trade, because he followed up in a DM to me and said, hey, look, this is the deal that's on the table. I told him, I said, quote, word for word. Yeah, I mean, the value feels a little bit off here, and I do think you'd probably need a tiny bit more. This is originally when he had it as a third round pick instead of Pearsall thrown in, by the way. It was a third round instead of Pearsall. So he went and got a little bit more, and he got Pearsall instead of the third. But I told him, I said, where I dislike the trade is the Kamara and Hubbard swap. That's what I said in there. So I did agree with you. He said that the whole league is Saints fans, so he thinks he can flip Kamara for probably more than he's actually worth in a normal trade market. So maybe that's what he's doing. He's going to try and flip Kamara. But overall, I do think, if you try to cut this down, how different in value? I mean, I think Kittle for the first and Ferguson, you said, like, that's probably fair in that range of outcomes. So if that's the case, is Pearsall and Kamara worth Hubbard? Probably. I think you prefer Hubbard, but I think it's probably fair still. And Pearsall's interesting because he's a player that either can rise up boards or fall down boards. I think he's like a very volatile asset. And starting the year off on the pup, quote unquote, I don't know if even by the time this episode comes out, he's even going to be on the pup, because I've heard that that's probably more a procedural type of thing than it is actually him being hurt right now. So we'll see what happens with Pearsall by the time this episode comes out. But I think Kittle's going to smash this year for fantasy. I think he's going to be dominant for fantasy.
I think he's their wide receiver one and their tight end one, as far as I'm concerned.
I legitimately think a healthy year from George Kittle, 17 games played, I think he finishes above Bowers and McBride this year.
That's interesting.
I think
you said the key word though. You said the key word though.
Season.
He has to be healthy.
Yep.
Which hasn't been the case.
Yeah. I mean, he's been healthy I think last year he played 17, didn't he? Or maybe it was 16 or something like that. But
he plays, but George Kittle, he plays hurt. That's his thing. Like, so he'll be hurt and play, but be less productive than usual because he's playing hurt.
Yeah, fair enough. I just think he's going to be so dominant for the Niners this year. And their strength of schedule is a little bit easier this year as well, because of the bad season last year. So yeah, it should be good. But yeah, I think this deal is fine. Kind of like I said originally to you, Bladner, in the DMs, the Chuba and the Kamara swap is kind of where I felt like it, you maybe lean the other way if you don't want to contend. But I think contending wise, there's nobody in this deal that's probably more valuable to you than George Kittle is.
Big facts.
And tight end was by far the weakest point in his lineup, for the record. He has a pretty strong lineup outside of that. So I think Chuba was like expendable. Whether it's playing drafts or sweating pick'ems, there's no offseason on Underdog, which means there's still plenty of ways to cash in big this summer. No matter the sport you're watching, Underdog has you covered, and all you have to do is pick higher or lower on your favorite athletes from whatever sport, put them into a pick'em entry, watch the winning multiplier increase, click play, and win real cash. So what are you waiting for? Download Underdog and start playing today. Plus, when you use promo code LeagueFFB, Underdog will give you a new customer special, which is a free square for your first pick'em entry, and they will give you up to $1,000 in bonus cash, giving you the perfect head start to winning big on Underdog. So if you want to support our show and get in on some daily fantasy sports action, click the link in our description to sign up for Underdog using code LeagueFFB. So thank you to our sponsors over at Underdog. And with that out of the way, let's get back into the action. All right, let's move on. 10-team, super flex, full PPR, no tight end premium, and start 11. Finally, a trade where we're not dealing with, somebody who's committed a crime yet. Maybe by the time this recording comes out, one of these guys has committed a crime. Probably looking at you, Jared. You get Achane, CJ Stroud, and a 26 second round pick being received for Jared Goff, Derrick Henry, a 26 first, and a 27 first. War, how do you feel about this, man? Also, if Jared was the one to commit the crime, what crime is Jared committing, by the way?
Oh, let me see. Probably
tax evasion.
Yeah. Hacking or tax evasion or impersonating what's his face?
Gosling? Ryan Gosling.
Yeah, Ryan Gosling. Or something like that. I'm taking the Achane Stroud on the second side, man. Goff and Henry. And I hate referring to Goff as like an old asset. Like Goff isn't that old. But
he's 30 plus.
He's 30 plus. But for in the world of dynasty football, he's old.
It's the phrase of like after you turn 30 in Dynasty, like your value never actually matches what you can do as a producer. Like Jared Goff will always outproduce where people are drafting him at because his age is suppressing his draft position.
Yep, and you guys, I know this is Dynasty football. Keep that one little fact that Andrew just stated in mind if you play redraft, because you can win a championship taking advantage of people who think like that.
Yeah,
because they're still they're drafting Dak Prescott at like the end of drafts and getting stud teams with Dak as their like QB1. I'm taking the Achane side. I mean, I understand the 27 first in there. My favorite thing to talk about, the 27 first in there. But I think, Achane's definitely more valuable than Henry. Stroud is more valuable than Goff. So, at worst, it's an even trade, but I personally lean Achane Stroud side.
Yeah, full PPR, 10-team league, you could argue that Achane is worth those two first. You could argue it, in my opinion. I know you don't like trading a lot for the running back, but I think the value could be there. Achane's going to smash, again, if people are healthy.
Achane is another one of like your guys, right, for this season.
Yeah, I'm getting a little high on Achane. I think he can. I just don't see a world where I'm not drafting him as like a top 5 running back in redraft leagues this year. It's probably like Bijan, Gibbs, Saquon, CMC, or Genty, and Achane. That's like the top 6 for me right now. So anyways, I think Achane, you could argue the 2 first. If you don't want to argue the 2 first, you could at least say, the first, the better of the first or the more valuable of the first, which at this point in time, I think most people value 27 over 2026. So you could say the 27 and Derrick Henry equals Achane at minimum. And then it's like, is it Jared Goff and the 26 first for Stroud and the 26 second? Probably take CJ Stroud just because of the age. And we've seen a ceiling from CJ Stroud. Is he going to hit that ceiling again? I don't know. Their offensive line is still putrid this year, and Joe Mixon's a little bit banged up at this point in time. Like that could mean they have to throw the football a billion times this year, and that might not be great for CJ behind a bad offensive line. But also, like passing volume will be there. Either way you cut it, the 2 best dynasty assets are Stroud and Achane, and you're giving up draft capital and some old guys to go do it. Not to discredit those guys as producers, but this is dynasty, like you said, and you want the valuable assets. So give me Achane Stroud in the second.
Andrew, how are you feeling? How comfortable are you with CJ Stroud coming into the season? because he struggled last season. And I understand the perception out there is that, okay, that was just a little hiccup. He's going to bounce back. That's the perception I hear from everybody that, you know, plays fantasy football, and from everybody I see, like national media, they expect to bounce back from CJ Stroud. But if you look at the transactions, it seems like everything around him may have like taken a step back going into this season. So
yeah, I still think he's overvalued in Dynasty. I think coming out of that rookie year, he was a little bit overvalued. And again, it was some passing efficiencies that he had. There wasn't a lot of rushing upside, if any. The offense did take a step back. Obviously, we saw Tank Dell get hurt. We saw Stephon Diggs get hurt, and Mixon got banged up throughout the year. The offensive line is horrible, and they traded away some of the better offensive lines that they had, linemen that they had on that front five. It's tough, man, for CJ. And I'm looking at like where he's being valued in keep trade cut, and it's like guys that are within a couple hundred points of him: Drake May or Stroud. Like, I'm going May. It's Herbert or Stroud. I think I just lean Herbert here. Nix or Stroud. I'm going to go with Bo Nix. I think he has more rushing upside. Is it Caleb Williams or Stroud? I'm going to lean with Caleb Williams. I think he has the better offense and the better offensive line. The ceiling's higher. And then you go below CJ Stroud, like Jordan Love or CJ Stroud. I think there's an argument there that you probably lean Jordan Love. And then after him, it's like Purdy and McCarthy. Would you be shocked if one season from now, JJ McCarthy jumped CJ Stroud in overall rankings? Probably not. Just because of the offense and the offensive line.
I could see a scenario where he's below all those guys, even Jordan Love.
You think he could be below Purdy as well?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's tough, man. It's tough for Stroud. I think people saw that rookie year and it was exciting. And honestly, like, he was being overdrafted. Remember, CJ Stroud was going like over Allen and Mahomes and Lamar and stuff like that in startups.
See, Andrew, and that's why people get pissed off when I say things like, I got to see it twice. And this is exactly why I say I got to see it twice. Just like Jayden Daniels, the whole world is glazing him. I got to see it twice, man, because people underrate how fast the NFL can learn how to adjust to you.
Yeah.
They underrate that. So
I
got to see it
to that.
twice.
The only pushback that I would have with you, and the same pushback that I've had when it was the Laporta-Bowers debate, is the way that these guys make their money in fantasy football is different, right? Like, CJ Stroud was not using his legs. So he has to remain a super efficient, high volume passer for him to keep returning on that investment. Sam Laporta's rookie season was a lot of touchdowns. He has to hit at that high touchdown rate again for him to be valuable. Bowers was a reception guy. So if Bowers just keeps getting receptions, which is easier to predict year in and year out, the volume might not go away, even if the touchdowns don't fall his way, which, by the way, Brock Bowers had a insanely low touchdown rate as a rookie. That can improve, and he could even outperform that. He hits the same. Jayden Daniels, if he keeps using his legs and rushing at that rate that he was, because he was one of the highest rated rushers last year when it came to rush rate, he can still hit, even if the touchdowns aren't as high as they were the year before, because there is probably going to be some touchdown regression. I think Terry McLaurin probably, doesn't get into the end zone double-digit touchdowns. Even if Terry McLaurin is on the football team. We don't know. I think he will be on the football team. But at the end of the day, like, the way they make their money is a little bit different. So I think maybe as a community, we need to get a little bit better at identifying how players are making their money in fantasy football for us, for fantasy football purposes, and then identifying which of those traits are easy to predict year in and year out. And when we see guys like CJ Stroud who have elite seasons throwing the football, say, okay, I obviously love what I saw, and I'm very high on CJ Stroud, but there's a higher likelihood of chance of regression here than there is for a guy like Jayden Daniels. So I think, like, we just need to be a little bit pickier, I think, when we see those years. And people have, gotten on us in the past, I think, when you've said things like that, where it's like you want to see it twice, or even I remember there was a period of time there where you were like, I kind of want to see Puka do it again. And people were really upset about you saying you wanted Puka to do it again. But at the end of the day, he did it. And now you value Puka as a top 7-ish dynasty wide receiver. So, like, I don't think it's bad to say you want to see it again. Some people just play it a little bit more cautious, because here's the other thing. If you were the guy that went and bought CJ Stroud at top 5 startup prices last year, you're sitting here with a team that is done. Like, it's cooked. Like, you paid the price and now you got to fix it because the floor fell out.
Yep, I'm cooked in one of our leagues. So hey, top 5. Yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, my only hope for CJ, man, is that maybe they could add a wrinkle to his game where he does get a little more rushing upside. I mean, I don't necessarily think that's his game, but like, we've seen other guys whose game isn't necessarily rushing the ball, add that to their game a little bit. So
Yeah, when I was watching Stroud come out of college, like him and Bryce, and as of today, I missed. And I think, I don't know, we'll see. But I had Bryce over Stroud in my pre-draft rankings because I felt like Bryce used his legs and rushed more than CJ. And I thought he was a pretty solid passer of the football as well. I thought Bryce was accurate and so forth. But obviously, Stroud's rookie season changed the perception of these two guys so drastically that even with Bryce Young having a better year 2 than CJ did, if you go look back at those stats, we've talked about those stats on this show before, like those last 8 games from Stroud and Bryce. Bryce outplayed CJ in the back half of their second years. And for whatever reason, the perception of the two guys is still drastically different. And I think it's just because people are hanging on to that first rookie season from CJ. And this is not me telling you that they should be the same or valued the same, but I just think that there's traits that Bryce had with the rushing, and we saw him rush a little bit last year, and CJ never had that to his game. That's really what I'm trying to get to, is he never had that. He very much, to me, felt like a player that probably was going to be like a Dak Prescott, and Dak has been very successful at the NFL level, and he's been a very good fantasy quarterback, but that's become, he's volatile because it has to come with high production passing, and that's what CJ has to do as well.
Yeah, man, I'll tell you what. You said the perception hasn't changed. Let them mess around. Let CJ mess around and have another season like he had last season, and Bryce continue the way he ended last season. We're not going to be talking about that perception different after next season.
We'll see. And one of them got a top 10 pick at wide receiver, and a guy that we like in T-Mac. So we'll see what happens there. But let's move on to this next trade. I do want to talk about this one. 12-team, 1 quarterback, full PPR, no tight end premium. Solely is trading away Amon-Ra St. Brown. What he gets back is Jaxon Smith-Njigba, a 26 first, 2 26 seconds, and J.K. Dobbins. We haven't talked about J.K. Dobbins since the last time we talked about J.K. Dobbins, and you've let me know a few times that the comment section telling you were an idiot saying that J.K. Dobbins was going to be relevant. Maybe it's not so stupid anymore saying J.K. Dobbins might be relevant, right? So talk to me a little bit about this trade. I'm going to let you have the floor. Talk your stuff, man.
My stuff? I'm going to talk it. I ain't going to go too hard, though. All I'm going to say is J.K. Dobbins, J.K. Who's laughing now? That's all I'm going to say. Trades like this really test my patience because I'm going to go with the Amon-Ra St. Brown side, man.
Yep.
I understand JSN is a nice rising young player. Unfortunately for him, I am not 100% sure he has a quarterback. I'm not 100% sure. And so when I take that into account, a 26 first, which is like a less valuable version of the 27 first. But even with a 27 first, I don't know if I'll be comfortable with that, man. I feel like people are starting to sleep on Amon-Ra St. Brown a little bit too. Like, we viewed him as a guy up there with Puka and, guys like that second tier under, JJ and Chase. So
keep in mind, he's outproduced all of those guys for the last 2 years of his career.
Yeah. So I don't necessarily know what's happening here, and that's a lot to get back. But I mean, in a trade like this involving a player like Amon-Ra St. Brown, those second round picks don't really mean anything to me. Those are whatever. So I'm mainly, and J.K. Dobbins, we do know that eventually, even if he is splitting time with RJ Harvey, we know what the end game is going to be in that backfield. So
let's just be real here. If you were holding J.K. Dobbins this offseason, you got fucking bailed out. You got bailed out because Dobbins was dead in the water. It was, nobody wanted him. The final team that had any wiggle room for a guy to come in and have some touches took J.K. Dobbins, and he's probably a year or 2 away from being dynasty dust and being nothing. So you got bailed out. I just think, and it's not to hate on Dobbins. I was a big Dobbins guy, a couple years back. I just have seen the story of J.K. Dobbins, and it's frustrating. It's always a guy comes in, shows you why he was a top pick for the Baltimore Ravens, and then he gets hurt. And then you got to wait again for him to get back on the football field. And then he comes in, shows you those flashes, and then he gets hurt. And then you got to wait again. I've done the J.K. Dobbins story before, and it's frustrating. Part of the reason why I'm like not too worried about RJ Harvey long term with Dobbins here, but I'm not denying the fact that Dobbins going to get touches in this backfield. It maybe early on or whatever. Like Harvey can still run away with the job. He's a rookie. Like it can happen. But when it comes down to it, like I agree with you. Amon-Ra is being faded a little bit, it feels like, by the community. This is a decent haul. It's not enough. It feels very much like it was broken up too much. You probably needed it to be JSN and 2 firsts. Fuck the seconds and JK. Put those all together and give me 1 more first. And it's JSN and 2 firsts. And then I'm feeling much better about the deal.
That feels a lot in there.
But just going back to the Amon-Ra, he is the last guy now on Keep Trade Cut in that second tier of guys. So he's behind Lamb, he's behind BTJ, he's behind Puka, and it's Amon-Ra is the last guy in the tiers. And he's outperformed Puka, he's outperformed BTJ. Quite honestly, he's outperformed Lamb to an extent over the last couple of seasons. I would still take Lamb over Amon-Ra at this point in time, but yeah, it just feels like people are fading for whatever reason. And honestly, I don't know if it's age or what, because even Amon-Ra's 25. He's 25 years old right now.
I don't get it. He outside of BTJ, I mean, he's either younger or like the same age as the other guys in that tier, right?
Well, Puka's young as well. Puka's 24, but you know, I would say
25.
Yeah, I mean the gap, it's closer to 2 years than it is 1 year because of the month, but still, like one of them has a guy in Jared Goff that I can predict is going to be the starter for the Lions much longer than I can predict Matthew Stafford will be the starter for the Rams. And if Stafford is gone from the Rams, then who the hell is throwing the football to Puka? Stetson Bennett? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what are they going to go sign Carson Wentz? Like, what is happening? Like, I can't tell you what's going to happen. So they're going to have to draft a rookie. Like this year we were talking about like, oh man, it might be a really good situation if Jaxon Dart can get drafted in the late first and sit behind Stafford for a year or two. Like we're already kind of talking about who's next at QB for the Rams. And anytime you have a QB change, it can be volatile for the wide receivers. So I just know that there's safety in Amon-Ra and the ceiling is still a top 5 guy in fantasy. So I don't know, man. Maybe it's name fatigue. Amon-Ra's been too good for too many years in a row, and now we're all just like bored. We'd rather just go for the younger, exciting option like BTJ, who gave us a flash year as a rookie. I don't know. I'd rather rely on Amon-Ra with Jameson next to him and Jared Goff as the QB than I would rather rely on BTJ with Trevor Lawrence, who maybe or maybe cannot turn into the quarterback that we wanted, and got a first round top 2 pick in the NFL draft in Travis Hunter on his football team.
Yeah, man. I don't know what people tripping about on my Ross St. Brown for, but I don't know why I keep saying his whole name, but fuck it.
Keep killing him, Saint. Let's go on to the next one. 12 teams, super flex, full PPR, tight end premium, contending roster for team number 1. You get Josh Allen, Josh Jacobs, and Devontae Smith. You give up Jamar Chase, Dak Prescott, a 26 first round pick, and Joe Mixon. So if we were to break this up here, trying to get a little bit. Yep. If we were going to break it up, trying to get it a little bit more even. Jamar Chase, is he equal to Josh Allen, or do you have to throw like a Joe Mixon on top of Jamar Chase to get to, like, what gets you to Josh Allen in a 12-team super flex? It's probably Chase plus,
I mean,
right?
Is it too much to say
Chase in the first?
I was going to say Chase and Dak.
I don't know, but like I think what we do know is it has to be Chase plus to get to Josh.
Yeah.
I'm more with Chase plus Mixon or Chase plus the first. I'm one of those.
It probably got to be the first, dog. It probably got to be the first, because I have a hard time believing that a good dynasty manager is going to be like, oh, okay, you're offering me Chase and Joe Mixon for Josh Allen. Like, I think if somebody came to you with that trade, you're turning it down.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not selling Josh Allen in a super flex format at all.
Yeah.
Josh Allen is the number 1 asset for me to own. He's the only guy that I want. I'm sitting on the clock at the 101. I'm selecting Josh Allen. I know Lamar had a better year last year. I'm still selecting Josh Allen. Josh Allen is on my team. I'm not moving him. Sorry. That's just the way it is. So like, I think, yeah, I'd probably go Chase. I think maybe a easier way to lump this together is Josh Allen and Devontae Smith. Is that equal to Chase, Prescott in the first?
Josh Allen. I think, honestly, Andrew, man, let's be real here. We're going through the motions with this. I think
we just know we're going to take the Josh Allen side anyways.
Yeah. Yeah. We just know we're going to take, like just the way we breaking it down. It takes so many assets to equal Josh Allen that if you're left with Josh Jacobs and Mixon, I'm sorry, I'm going Josh Jacobs regretfully.
I was
I'm going
mainly
Josh.
doing it because I want to see like how off it is, like value wise. I think you have an argument that like, I mean, there's obviously enough name value with Chase and a first and Dak if
Yeah.
you believe he bounces back, like where somebody can see that side and say like, yeah, I'm in. But I just feel like Josh Allen, Josh Jacobs, and Devontae Smith is the side that I want, no matter what.
Yeah, I mean, Josh Allen, man, is such. I don't condone trading him at all, man. Especially in Superflex. Like, he's a stud. He's built like fucking Tank. His wife is hot. Like, just you just can't
We're
like.
baking that into the analysis is Haley Steinfeld.
Yeah. She, you know how I feel about it.
gives you the extra oomph, like from a fantasy
Yeah.
perspective.
Once I seen her in Sinners, it was a wrap for me.
God damn.
Yeah, like
All
that.
right.
I gotta bake that into the Josh Allen value.
Oh, he said, yeah, I'm moving Josh up the rankings, man. If you could bag this, I'm moving you up.
Yeah, man. Like, yeah.
Crazy. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think Josh Allen, for me, like I said, he's my 101. No matter how you cut it. I think, you have an argument if we knew like team structure does like if I mean in a way, if team 2 has like Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, and Jaden Daniels, like I can hear the argument of like you wanted to just move one of those QBs and go get Jamar Chase, but we don't have that context here. So yeah, just give me Josh Allen. I think he's the best player in fantasy, or the best rosterable asset in Dynasty right now. So I'm going to take him in super flex formats. Josh Jacobs, I still think he can produce an RB1 season this year. Devontae Smith, he's our wide receiver 2 for your fantasy football teams, even though it's a low passing volume offense. I think guys like Prescott and Mixon are depreciating assets, and probably will depreciate. Mixon specifically will depreciate very rapidly over the next year or two. I have been trying to get out of all of my Joe Mixon shares, but the problem is with that preseason injury, or with the spring injury, it's going to be hard for anybody to buy Joe Mixon unless he gets on the football field and gives us a couple more weeks where he was a high producer. And then at that point, I'm going to be like screaming to try and get out of Joe Mixon, which is the end of an era for me because I've had Joe Mixon on teams for years, like a half decade now.
It kind of brings a tear to my eye. You taking Joe Mixon out back and give him the old Yeller treatment.
Yeah, appreciate all the years, all the points on my fantasy roster, but it's time to part ways here, Joe. It's unfortunate.
Endeavors.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but we're giving him the boot, I think, early this year once he starts giving us some production that people can see, and then we'll try and ship him off to somebody. But yeah, give me the Josh Allen side. I'm done yapping about this because I can yap 100 different player takes about all of these and still tell you that I just want Josh Allen.
Yeah, simple as that.
All right, let's go to this trade. I think this is the last one. We got a 12-team Superflex half PPR. Team number 1 says they are the top contending team in their league. So they trade away Trevor Lawrence, Emeka Egbuka, Jerry Jeudy, a 26 first and a 26 second. What they get back is J.J. McCarthy, Omarion Hampton, Jaylen Waddle, and a 26 second round pick. How do you feel about this one more?
Well, clearly he's a top contender because he's finessing the other managers in the league. And he did that here. I have no clue how this trade got to that. Now, I'm saying that even with the knowledge that I know how much you love Egbuka, but I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm taking, first of all, I'm taking Waddle over Jeudy. That's simple. I'm taking McCarthy over Lawrence. I'm taking Hampton over Egbuka. That 26 first does not close the gap of what I think the value on the first side is getting. And then the 2 seconds wash each other out. So, I mean, he pretty much got a better asset at every stop of this trade for the price of a 22nd first. Goddamn.
Yeah, and that's his late first, by the way, because he's the top contender.
Late first, yeah.
So I agree with you. That breakdown is pretty much there. Watch out the seconds. Then you're looking at, like you said, McCarthy and Lawrence. I think they're close enough that some people could argue. However, most people, pretty much all people, should be taking J.J. McCarthy there. I'm telling you that right now. I did my rant last week. We're not doing that again. But by JJ McCarthy. Jaylen Waddle over Judy, absolutely. And then Hampton over Egbuka. You could argue that based on the draft capital that these two guys saw in the rookie drafts, it should be Egbuka in the first just to get to Hampton. And then it's like, yeah, I'm there with you. It's a half PBR though, so like it does devalue a little bit. Guys like Judy and Egbuka and even Waddle to an extent. But best player in the deal, most valuable player in the deal is probably in startup value, probably Hampton, and then McCarthy's the second most valuable, and then it's probably T-Law. But yeah, I mean that's where we're at. Give me McCarthy and Hampton, bro.
Yeah, man, I see why he's a top contender. Shame on you.
Go win that thing. But that's it, man. That's it. That is 10 Dynasty trades submitted in our Discord from you guys. So thank you guys for submitting those. Like I said at the top of the show, that is free to join. So if you're not in that Discord, go join it right now. Link down below. Submit those trades in the trade review channel. That's where we put it. Just put some context in there in a screenshot, and we'll try and get yours on the next episode. It's getting quite flooded in there sometimes, some weeks. So, you know, it's a tough competition. Make sure you come with some fire. Make sure you come with some heat if you want that to hit the trade show. Also make sure that both of those are showing as accepted and sent or whatever. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Lots of content on the way. Some really dope content that has hit the channel in the last week. Some really dope content that is going to be hitting the channel in the next upcoming week. So make sure you guys are tapped in, subscribe, like, do all that good stuff. And War, where can they find you at? You just passed 1.5 million views on your shorts channel, which is pretty dope. So, you know, where can they find you at?
Oh, you can find me on Crimson Mass Pro Wrestling. That's our shorts channel. But I'm going to tell you guys, our channel, the Crimson Mass Show, because we got two channels where we post our long form content. That's about to start cranking stuff out. We cranked out one video this week. AEW Dynamite abridged. So we'll see how that goes, man. If you guys have a chance, go over there, subscribe, like the videos. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely, go check them out. And guys, I don't usually do this, but if you haven't watched the mock draft episode with Andy Holloway yet, go show that video some love. That was super dope for me to do because that was kind of a full circle moment for me in the fantasy space when I was getting into fantasy football content and consuming content as somebody who was just playing the game of fantasy football. The Fantasy Footballers and Andy Holloway were my go-to resource. I would listen to them every single day. I would talk to my homies about what the ballers were saying. Like, that was a very cool full circle moment for me. So to have you guys go in there and see that, like, one, it was just dope for me to do. It was like a bucket list item, I think, for me as a creator. But to have you guys go show it some love, I want you guys to go see that. So go watch that for me. That would be really dope to have you guys watch that, show it some love in the comments, do all that good stuff, because just very cool moment for me. And I don't usually plug the videos that we've already done, because if you've seen them and you want to watch them, you'll already watch them. But that one would be, if you haven't watched it, go watch that for me.
Yeah, man. And you know how I already spoke to you off camera about how I feel about it, man. Very, very proud of your work, man. Very proud of everything that's popping out for you.
Appreciate it, man. But that's it, folks. Nothing else for you today. We will see you next week. War, we are about to be starting these divisional breakdowns too. So
I'm ready, man. I'm ready.
This is where we get last year a lot of those fantasy receipts came from these divisional breakdowns, so lots of takes coming from these. So you guys make sure you're tapped in. But nothing else. We'll see you on the next episode. Until then, peace out.